Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Real Estate Parlor podcast, brought to you by Tour Via Real Estate. My name is Matt Labrot. With me always is Chayan, Alavi. We are here to talk everything real estate news for the real estate agent, not for your flipper or investor or your get rich quicker. We are on the daily grind trying to make a living.
Yes, hello everyone, welcome. You know, I'm really into 80s music right now. I don't know why. Have you ever heard of Ice House Electric Blue?
No,
Oh,
and
it's
the
beautiful.
reason you're into 80s music
It's got
is
the
because
big hair,
I don't know
it's got
it.
the solo saxophone and the Twilight. It's so good. It's so good. I highly recommend it. 1987 Ice House Electric Blue. It's really
All right.
good. I feel like if I was ever going to sing a song, this would be it. And
That would be your rock anthem.
this would be this is actually the only thing I would probably be capable of singing. I don't think it'd be any good because if today's modern music, it's terrible. I understand both lyrically, visually, every way. This song is probably not that great, but I love it. So anyways, moving on.
Okay, I would like to start us off with what I think we should start every podcast off with from now on, and that is a new segment called Why Did They Put That Toilet There? So I'm going to share a picture with you, and I'm going to see how you feel about this toilet location.
Toilet location. I like this one. You know what's funny is I go through a lot of houses where I do wonder why the toilets are there. But yeah. Yeah, okay. That's
So beautiful skylight, right?
beautiful.
I mean, you can look at all of that light coming in, almost just glowing off of the toilet.
Almost, it's awkward though because that skylight with the sun shifts a little bit, then it looks like you're under a spotlight on the throne.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I like this, but
But-
why is that room so big? And what is that, a mirror?
Yeah, so that's why did
You got to
they put
watch
this,
yourself?
That's why did they put
On
this
the
toilet
pot?
here? They look
That's
like
awesome.
sliding glass closet doors.
I feel like you could rearrange this room so much better because it seems big enough.
It seems huge.
But the skylight, the spotlight is really actually the funniest part of this photo because really if you're on it at a little bit of an angle, you just feel like you're doing a show and then you just have to stare at yourself
You're
roasting in the sun.
Looking at yourself in
On
the
the
mirror
toilet.
on
Yeah,
the
that's-
spotlight toilet.
That's so terrible. And look at that light. Like it's all misaligned.
Like, it's
and
not even over the sink. Yeah.
It's not even over the sink. I don't know. I just feel like there's a lot of there's just things you could do differently with so much space.
Well, see, this
is
is why I
funny.
think this is going to be a great segment because
You have
that
more?
is no, that is it.
Oh, damn it.
We're getting
This was
one
good.
per show.
This one was good.
Why put that toilet there?
You'll have more than one photo next
Absolutely.
time?
Are you kidding
Okay.
me? It took me all of 10 minutes to find 20. Why did they put those toilets
Yeah.
there?
No, that's appealing. I like it.
Okay. Well, I think that's a great way to kick us off.
Yeah, that kicks us off. But I walked by going to the bathroom, speaking of, and your desk happens to be by the bathroom. So
Uh-oh.
I saw you were watching golf.
Oh, yeah. What's
And I bring this up because there's just some news in the news, and I just wanted to like pick your brain on this. And I know it's not real estate oriented, but did you hear about the story about the little girl in Utah with the golf ball? No,
Did she get hit by a golf
she
ball?
got hit by a golf ball
Oh,
by
no.
her dad. Hit her in the back of the head while she was in the golf cart, and she died.
Oh,
She died, which
why do
is
you
like.
keep bringing these things to the pod?
I'm sorry. I only bring it up because I want to know, like, you know, is that possible? Was this just a fluke? How should I be worried about going to the golf court or taking my kid to the golf course?
Well,
Since you're
yeah,
like a golf pro, I'm
you
asking
don't know
you these
how to
questions.
hit a golf ball.
I
So
don't know how to hit a
You
golf
should
ball.
always be worried.
Okay, so is there a way to prevent something like that? Or is
Yeah,
that just-
absolutely. 100%. You know, it's obviously a tragedy, and you know, I'm sure.
Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, this is devastating.
That's why I'm
But
bringing it up because I can't
Yeah.
stop thinking about it.
what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to leave the cart behind the person who's hitting. So you do still run the risk of a ricochet or something like that. But it also brings in if you're not hitting the ball, you need to be paying attention to who is hitting the ball.
Yeah.
Because if some jaggle behind you is swinging like a madman, and you're not paying attention, yeah, absolutely, they can hit you with a golf ball. And those things
Can they hit you with the golf ball if you are behind them?
The only way that would happen is
Like
if
they chop it, right? Or something.
no, they can hit it and blade it or something to where it hits a tree or a fence post,
Okay.
and then it'll ricochet back. But at that point, it's going to have lost a decent amount of velocity.
Okay.
And you also should be looking forward.
Yeah.
So you would be seeing it, and hopefully you can react in some different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's devastating.
terrible. I felt really sad about that, and
I'm
going
to
bring
well,
art.
and that really kind of puts a damper on the whole me trying to get you to go out and play more golf. So,
I'm never going to take my kid. That's for
well,
sure.
I mean, when we're talking about sports, money to be made, baseball and golf are the safest sports you could possibly be doing.
That's true.
And also, I mean, those
non-contact sports are way
golf
safer.
purses are huge now, thanks to Tiger Woods. Before Tiger
what?
Woods, they were a lot smaller, but now that there's so much more ad money out there being spent.
And I don't mean to stay off of real estate and stay in golf. Was Tiger Woods despised like all before he won that Masters again? I feel like his image got really tainted. Did all that go out the window, or was he not really despised, and that's just my hearing of the news, not being too involved?
I think
because the whole, sex and porn and porn stars, right? That's what it was.
Yeah,
So,
lots of different stuff.
what happened?
And
with
drugs
that? Why did America change so violently the other way? Because he won.
to start loving him again?
Yeah.
Because he won. As 100% the winner's
winners.
circle erases almost everything.
So you're saying as long as you win, nothing else matters?
It's not what I'm saying.
I think you are saying that, but unfortunately, I think you're kind of.
I'm
right.
answering your question. Yeah, the masses feel that way. I mean, I would say I was back to being pro Tiger for a while before he won.
Yeah.
But it didn't hit mainstream like, oh, we support Tiger again until he won and people got to celebrate again.
I never disliked him. I mean, I thought it was actually not even a surprise that a famous athlete was cheating on his wife.
For sure.
But he actually didn't break a law, right? He didn't hit his wife. He didn't. cheat on
No,
something.
yeah, there wasn't
He
any
didn't
crazy
do
amounts of
alcohol-related.
Yeah,
drug
he did
abuse.
drug
He did?
abuse and drinking. Yeah, but it was more of
Oh, he did? I didn't know that.
It was more of a like painkillers and things like that. So
Got it.
because he had hurt himself. And
okay.
Yeah, so it was.
Well,
that.
we all do that, so that's okay.
Correct. Yeah, it wasn't like Tiger's out there snorting cocaine and all that kind of stuff. Which,
Okay.
I mean, he probably did,
All right.
but that wasn't the
gotcha.
main thing.
Cool.
But yeah, I mean, now that he's back, it's great for viewership. It's great for really everything. It doubles the amount of people watching.
You know who
golf.
else is back? The Lakers.
Oh my gosh, are they? Are they though?
They are. They're back.
I saw a
everybody to be
post
prepared
today.
for the Lakers season, this 2019-2020 season. We're going all the way. Or my backup team, the Clippers. Is it okay for me to like the Clippers? Why is it so against the rules to like two of the hometown teams? It's like, no.
It's not. It's the only thing. I take it all the way back to like high school sports. Like if you've got two really good high school football teams in the same city.
Yeah.
You pick which one you like, and then it's more of a rivalry. But I don't think the Clippers and the Lakers have ever really had
that the Clippers were so bad that there's no rivalry.
Yeah, that's
the
and
Kings,
that's the bummer.
The Warriors, but not the Clippers.
Yeah.
Until now.
Yeah, and I think that would be cool if they started to have a rivalry. And same thing with the two New York teams. Like, sure, they've always both existed, and one has always been like the crappy little brother to the other team. And now if they can kind of level out a little bit, that'd be fun to watch.
That's true. That would be
no matter
fun.
what, I mean, it's going to be a great basketball season.
Yeah, the Thanos has made the NBA normal again, which is great.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about that. But anyways, we keep going too much into sports. This is not a sports show.
Well, hold on. I think I'm gonna interject in that a little bit.
Okay.
What we just did is really solid client to realtor small talk. So that right there is, if you don't like sports, that is how you can now converse with your clients about what's going on in sports. You now know a couple of little nuggets that you didn't know before.
Yeah.
But those are all the things, because you have to be well diversified in what you like to talk about.
Yeah.
Because you are going to meet clients out there who don't give a crap about what you like.
Sure.
And you have to be able to, if you're driving them around for 3 hours looking at homes, you need to be able to hold on to at least a little bit of a conversation.
I remember when you came up and you said, man, I spent an hour and a half in the car with this client, and I was just like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
I was worried about what are we going to talk about, and you just have to kind of be natural about it, right?
Yeah,
and not make it awkward.
And it was, I think you really were kind of thrown off by me bringing that up, because I don't really have a problem talking to people.
I don't suspect you ever did or do.
Yeah, but it was just one of those things of, it was different. a lot of the other home tours that I had gone on that were multiple hours in the car were me and the couple searching.
Yeah.
This was just me.
Oh, yeah. One-on-one, it is more dynamic. But you typically can bond really well with the client. And that's one of the things I do like about real estate a lot. There's so many jobs, even a doctor, you're only meeting your customer for a few minutes at a time. Think about another industry where you spend hours and then weeks and months talking to this individual and getting to know them, getting to know their families. It's just, it is a very unique business. And for one of probably the polished and nicer parts of our business is we get so intimate with our clients. And that's really, really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
With that being said, with talking about how close we get to clients, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What do you want your client relationship to be after the close of the transaction?
Very good question. Is this one of your points for today?
It just...
Or no?
It was
or
very organically
just
came up. It was on the fly because
this is a very good point.
We've talked about
this is a very good point you bring up. I'm very impressed. If you did not write this down,
it's not. No, this just came up.
I'm very impressed because this is one of the things. I've been doing this for 15 years, and it is like something I went back and forth on. Is how, because you do get so close to these customers and these clients, and they become an intricate part of your world and their world, and it's hard. Because you become friends. But then when you have a friend, you have to keep up with them. And so in the past, I would try to keep really good touch with my clients and send them cards or ask how they're doing. But then the relationship becomes very weird. Is really the best way to put it. Because then it's like, oh, I haven't talked to you for 6 months. Now do I reach out? And now it seems like, hey, Chayan's not reaching out to me anymore. The client's not reaching out to me. So long story short, my advice is to not break the boundary between client, very, very good client, and professional relationship. I think you should keep sure, like you would say, don't cross that line and make it completely a friendship model.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and that's really tough because, again, I support open conversations with clients and being friends during that transaction because you want it to be as comfortable as possible. You don't want to be uncomfortable working with your real estate agent. Like spending time with your real estate agent shouldn't be awkward. But also after the transaction's closed, you kind of want a little bit of separation so they don't call you every time something happens in their home.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to probably do that anyways. but it really becomes awkward when you don't want to cross that line because then I feel like that great professional relationship that you had becomes tainted because now you're not doing well in the friendship part of the relationship. You're not keeping up appropriately like you would with a normal friend. So my advice over all these years, almost getting closer to 2 decades of doing this business is truly and I had a client who I just did a deal with and he said, hey, we want to hire you. We had an agent we bought a house a year ago from, and she said she was going to take us to dinner. She even let us pick the restaurant, and they did. And the client and the agent never followed through, and they were really, really kind of butthurt about that. They did not like that at all. And they reached out to me, and they had known me before, and they said, we want to deal with you because she didn't treat us right, which is so sad because she probably did a decent job in the transaction part, but she didn't do the good job in the friendship part.
Yeah.
And it hurt her relationship with it. So you have to be very careful. And I think it's been more successful as I'm watching that boundary very close. I get up to the edge of it, but I don't cross it anymore.
Yeah.
You don't want to necessarily share social media. You can do sometimes, and I do very rarely, like connect with them on Facebook and things like that or Instagram. But if I do, it's definitely knowing I'm just a bystander. I'm not doing this because I'm your best friend and I expect for us to hang out every other weekend or once a month. So advice to agents who are getting in the business, don't cross that friendship barrier with your clients. Be professional about it unless you really, really are going to cross it fully.
Yeah.
Instead of being nice and
that's
being
what I was
just
going to say.
A front for it.
Yeah.
So
if this is actually a person that you would be a really good friend with and do want to go to play golf with every other weekend or whatever it is.
Exactly.
But don't set yourself up for failure. And that's exactly what that lady did by
She did.
inviting them to dinner and then not following that up.
And I wonder how this is going to sound like when we listen back to this later. Like, dude, these guys are douchebags.
Well, so and
like,
so I'm
it's
gonna
important to make sure we're not coming across like saying, "Hey, we're evil" or "We don't care about our customers." Like,
no, I
that's
said
not
that right
all
away. I said you want a good working relationship, but it's a working relationship.
Yeah.
So I'll close it out with what I think is the best type of relationship that you really want, because we didn't really talk about it, but you also really want these people to refer their friends and their family to you, right?
Right.
Like that, it's not the goal, of course, that every client refers more people, but that's that's ideal. You want people to say, oh, you're selling your house? This person did a great job for me. You should talk to them.
Exactly.
So you want that type of relationship. So how do you separate yourself, but also be the person that they're going to reach out to? And what I compare it to is the dentist.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Everybody has a really good dentist, or if they don't, they're looking for one. So if I talk, hey, Chayan, I'm looking for a dentist, or my mouth hurts, I need a dentist. Yeah. I want Chayan to say, oh, go to this person. They're going to take care of you. I want the exact same type of relationship when it comes to real estate. If I overhear one of my friends saying, oh, I'm thinking about stopping renting and I want to start looking to buy something, I want to be able to jump in and say, you know what, go to Chayan. Like, he did a really great job. That to me is just ideal goal.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
I think that's a perfect example, is like, we don't go to dinner with our dentist, but we can appreciate them. We can enjoy their company. We think they're cool human beings. Yeah, I think that's all correct.
It's also, I would say dentists are really good at one specific thing, and that is sending freaking birthday cards. I always get, and it's a stupid little thing that has a tooth on it that says happy birthday, but that reminds me about my dentist. And it's like, oh yeah, I know those guys.
That's the way to do it.
Keeps you fresh.
Keep you engaged without having to say, hey, happy birthday in person, or hey, I didn't take you out to your birthday dinner, so I'm a bad friend. Don't come to my business. You're right. That's just enough to say, hey, I remember you, I care about you, but at the end of the day, we've got a professional relationship, and that's what you want.
Okay, good. I think that I would love some feedback from the world on this one. So
yeah, this is a good one. I'm glad you brought up
whether
that
we
point.
have enough listeners right now or we need to re-release this at a later date, but I'd love to hear.
Yep, all three of you. Enjoy.
I think we'd get a lot of people who are like, that's crazy, like just what you said, like these guys are idiots or these guys are jerks. I think a lot of people would say, that's crazy. Like, I'm friends with all of my past clients. Yeah. And it's like, really, are you?
No.
Do you go to brunch with them?
Right.
Do you
call them?
And
you know what? That agent probably has no idea that her client a year later bought another home with somebody else just off of something so avoidable, so unnecessary. So anyways, that's that.
Yeah. All right. What else you got for me?
So HomeLight. Do you know of the startup called HomeLight?
HomeLight. Which one of the billion real estate startups is HomeLight?
HomeLight is basically like a Yelp or a matchmaker between customer and real estate agent. They don't offer any direct like real estate technology services. Their whole angle is to connect a real estate agent with a potential buyer or seller, and HomeLight will make a percentage of the commission. So they don't charge the real estate agents anything up front like Realtor.com or Zillow would, but instead they do profit sharing kind of model.
Okay.
And so if you've never heard of it, that's probably fine, but they are spending a ton of money, millions on commercials.
Yeah, I've definitely seen their ads.
Yeah, their ads are pretty much on TV, radio, everywhere. But it's really interesting because they're not offering anything. They're offering just advertising space, because you can go on Yelp or Google and type in real estate agent, read the reviews, and do the same thing. HomeLight is saying that they are categorizing the most premier and most sales, most activity real estate agents to give you the best overall experience.
Okay.
I mean, is that a thing? Do you think consumers would care about something like that? Does that sound like it's viable? HomeLight
it's tough because the easiest way to say it is it's Yelp, but only for real estate agents.
Yeah.
I just clicked onto their website real quick. It doesn't really give me that feel. We analyze millions of home sales to find the best performing real estate agents. That doesn't sound like a thing. Like,
Yeah.
Being a tech savvy person, all this looks like is enter your information and we're going to share that info with as many people as possible to profit as much as possible.
Right. I mean, you go on the website and it doesn't say like search Los Angeles or search Long Beach. It just says search agent.
Yeah,
And
it just says selling or buying and
Right.
find an agent. So, yeah, I mean, this user interface makes sense. It asks me, what I'm looking for. It tells me there's 1,100 real estate agents
Yeah.
in that area that I'm looking in.
Right.
I don't know. What is the point? Why did you bring this up? What?
Well, they're acquired a mortgage company right now, and now they're trying to offer a new kind of angle that's going on, and that is they're saying that they will pre-approve a buyer before they enter into a contract, and so that they can go and buy a home all cash.
Okay.
And then the buyer will then HomeLight's mortgage company will run the process of the loan paperwork after the fact, but you present your offer as an all cash offer. I think this is kind of to compete a little bit with Redfin Now and Zillow Offers and Open Door, kind of doing that whole direct to consumer purchasing instead of doing the traditional real estate angle, and maybe taking a little bit of an edge off of that. But I was just kind of curious to see if there's value to this, if it's more gimmicky, and just overall what their end game might really look like.
Let me make sure that I understand. So HomeLight will connect you with a regular real estate agent, and HomeLight profits from a percentage of that real estate agent's commission.
Yes.
So I don't pay HomeLight anything as
Correct.
a buyer. But they also have a mortgage company, and the goal for the mortgage company is to have one step above a direct underwritten pre-approval. And they're going to say, before you've even identified the specific home, we guarantee we will give you $500,000 to buy your next home within 14 days?
I don't know. No, it's a cash offer. So HomeLight is going to write, essentially their division is going to write a check as an all cash offer. They'll fund the loan, and then they will process the paperwork on the back end to then give them the financing after they've already bought the home, technically.
Okay. So that makes sense to me, and it does give you a little bit more buying power if you get to say,
Well, this isn't for free. This is not for free.
oh yeah,
This costs you 3%. Now what do you think?
3% versus maybe the standard 1.5%?
No, 3% as a buyer you have to pay.
I don't understand what that means.
So that means you have a buyer's premium if you're going to do this. Now, by the way, the home lighting pricing is not, I don't know if home light pricing is 3%, but for the other companies that do offer this similar kind of service, they charge the buyers 3% versus an origination fee of essentially 3%, which origination fees are typically flatline between $500 and $1,000. Now you're paying 3% for the home on top of everything else to have that buyer's edge to go all cash.
Okay.
So is it worth paying 3% out of your own pocket instead of $500 when you're obtaining a home loan?
Yeah, I think that's tough. I have
That's a lot. 3% is a lot.
3%
right?
is a lot.
It's 15 grand on.
I very recently won a cash deal where we got $20K off the price of the home.
Okay.
Because she was all cash, and we were able to
Yeah.
leverage that for the
So
faster close.
you're right.
and-
You can call it break even right out there, but it also brings you a little bit of ease, and you can win in competitive offer situations, which is funny. This would have been great 4 years ago, but now it's not a buyer's market
Yeah.
anymore. So it's not a seller's market. It's a buyer's market. So I don't think this leverage tool comes in at a good time. So I'm going to give it a nay for HomeLight's strategy. And two, I don't think it's providing any service, any value.
Yeah.
Overall, it's just advertising on the internet. People call up and say, "Yeah, I want a real estate agent." Where's the long-term plan there? So anyways, that's my two cents on that.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, so I'm going to ask what I think is why I'm here on this podcast, as I'm going to ask a rookie question.
Okay.
So
Please
why
go.
is it that you can't get a home loan for $500,000 before you find a home And I know there's appraisals and all that kind of stuff. But if I'm pre-approved, I've got a great job, I've got great credit, I'm pre-approved for $500,000 piece of cake. Why can't I get that loan and have $500,000 in my bank account? I've signed a contract that says I can only spend it on a home, and I have 60 days to buy or to find that home. Why doesn't it work that way?
So you're basically describing the home light situation. Why can't I have the cash ready to go buy a house, right?
Yeah, why can't I go to Wells Fargo, they approve me for my loan, and they just give me the cash? You can get a business loan and all that kind of stuff, and they give you the cash right away.
Yes, but business loans are usually very expensive. You need a lot of capital, a lot of collateral. Interest rates are higher. But when it comes to homes, there's two lanes that you're going down. One is you need to be approved. You need to be qualified, the human being. Matt Labrot needs to have good credit.
Throwing out my last name on the pod right now?
I'm sorry. It's like everywhere.
my anonymity.
You need to be approved. But not only do you need to be approved, your house has to be approved.
Yeah.
So just because you have $500,000, it doesn't mean you get to spend it on any way you want. And you know what people would do, Matt? People would go to their Aunt Jenny's house, whose house is worth $200,000, and give her $500,000, and then go spend it on Jordans and BMWs. That's what they would do with the remaining $300,000. And that's what happened in 2006 and 7 and 8 when we had that whole meltdown, is that there was no kind of rules and checks and balances, and the appraisals were out of control. Yeah. And that's what happened. So now you have to not only be approved, but your house has to be approved. They have to inspect it. They have to verify its value to the penny is what mutually is accepted. And if it's not, then they have to, we're not talking about a little bit of money. We're not talking about a Honda Civic, or 30 or 40, 50 grand. We're talking about hundreds of thousands and if not more. And that's a big thing to make a mistake on.
Yeah.
And that's why the process, which in one of my pitfalls of this business is I hate how long the process takes. You go and buy something, you're done that day. I mean, you could say even a jet. You can go buy a jet, and it's really not a long escrow process. You might have a mechanic give it a once-over, but essentially you're done. But houses, it is so long. It's usually about typically 30 days. Some lenders will go longer. Of course, you've got some great ones that can do it well and go shorter, but it's a month. A lot happens in a month. People change their minds. People get cold feet. Just a lot of things can happen in a month, and I don't like how long it takes.
Yeah.
So I wish that, and it makes it harder because now you're trying to line up targets and timelines and things like that, and it's just like there's so much room for things to go wrong. And as a real estate broker, you are a babysitter. You are trying to keep this thing together as long as possible. And guess what? If it's a 15-day escrow, it's easier than a 30-day or 45-day or 60-day or a 90-day. Like try to put something together and keep it holding together for 90 days. That's a challenge in itself. It doesn't get easier. It gets harder. So that's one of the problems I have with it. And that's why you can't go, is because essentially the banks want to make sure not only does the human being qualified, but the house is qualified too. Hopefully that'll change. And I think HomeLight and some of these other brokerages are offering, offers.com, they're offering some new features, stuff like this. Because you are right. It would make the life of buying a house so much easier.
Yeah. I just think that when I think of something like, open listing, where they'll swoop in and buy your house for cash and you can move
Open Door.
Open Door.
Yeah,
okay.
Open Door will buy it all cash.
I just think of something like that, and it's so reflective of the We Buy Houses signs that are posted at every gas station, and it has the same feel. And I know, or maybe I don't know, maybe I feel like in that instance, somebody's getting screwed, right? Somebody is going to profit more than they should be profiting. Yeah. Which means somebody's going to profit less than they should be profiting.
So they have it really well. Like Open Door says, I will buy your house for 7%. Why list it with a listing agent for 6%? You have to then show your house, go through an inspection, figure out how to move, figure out where your next place is going to get, time the cash. I'll come in, you pay me 1% extra, I'll make it pain-free, I'll give you cash today, you're done. You get to get your check and you get to get out, and I will fix up the home a little bit, get it prepared for the market, and possibly even try to remove a real estate agent in the process. But what happens is 7% is pretty good when you compare it to 6%.
Yeah.
But that's not where the real estate industry is heading. We are heading towards a pricing model shift anyways. Yeah. Real services for real estate, I predict in the next 5 to 10 years will be between 2 and 3% total. for your full listing experience, which
Yeah.
is going to remove a bulk of the agencies in play right now. But now you're talking about a difference between 2 and 3% versus the 7. Boom, you win right there. But I believe Open Door, we may have talked about it before, is double dipping. Because not only are they saying 7%, they're also saying how much they're going to pay you because this is what they think the house is worth.
Yeah.
Do we think they might be off by 5, 10, 15, 25 grand?
And
yes,
that's
of
where you
course.
start to run into the problems is what are they going to do? Send an appraiser out?
No, yeah, they're going to buy it.
They're going to pull up the Zestimate or whatever their algorithm says it's worth, and you're just supposed to trust what that is.
They're going to pad it there. They're going to make
Yeah.
7% on it. So they're double dipping and they're making amazing amounts of profit.
Yeah.
But on paper, it looks like a good deal because you're only spending 1% more.
Yeah.
And they're saying they're giving you retail value for it. They're not. They're adjusting for that because they're going to paint it and do these other things. And well, why is it that you're selling it for more than what what you bought it for? Well, we rehabbed it, and they do. They do put a little paint and they do polish it up as much as they can. But they're making a premium on the buy side as well. So they are double dipping, and it's not bad. It's not wrong. I don't think that they are the end all to real estate agents. I believe that they have a place in this market, and they should go after people who are in hardships, people who are, who have got a job relocation immediately, or somebody passes away, or there's a divorce, or something that just they need to get this thing done. And so there's a market for it, but it's not the norm of is somebody going to take a $50,000 price cut on the services just because it can be a little bit easier. No, that's too much money. For the average human being, that's just too much money.
I'll throw out there that, and I'm maybe even giving this giant corporation more credit than they deserve since I haven't really worked with them before, but I would go as far as to say that I would trust open listings more than one of those we buy houses for cash people.
Yeah.
I feel like you'd get a better deal selling to one of those companies than one of those sketchy dudes who just happens to have all of this cash and buys your house for pennies on the dollar and then sells it 3 months later because he put in new Pergo flooring.
Right.
For 150 grand or profits 200 grand or whatever it is, whatever percentage it is.
Totally agree.
I feel like open listing or whatever it was, Open Door. And I don't know why, but I feel like it's just more of a corporate structure that has more set percentages, whereas those other, when you're dealing with an individual, they try to maximize their profit every single time.
Yeah, they have
and
to.
You have to.
They have to maximize the profit, and they're going to push.
But
and they're hungrier too as well. But it's nice to know that you can go into a franchise essentially, like what the expectation is when you go to, Redfin Offer, Zillow Now. I'm sorry, I think I always get those backwards. I think it's Redfin now, Zillow Offers. So I think that's kind of the dynamic of where it's going. But the market is on a decline. So right now, the rich people are not buying second homes. They're not buying additional properties. So last year, they're saying that the British, people from Mexico, from China, it's down about 50% of buyers than we had last year. So, that's showing also the reasons why is just because there's an economical slowdown and an inevitable recession probably under our belts. And I think a lot of buyers are kind of being a little bit passive about trying to buy right now, seeing that all the things are ticking in the wrong direction and what we've been used to for the last 10 or 11 years. But overall, with a slowing market for real estate agents, it does kind of create a little bit of a jeopardy for the livelihood of agents that are out there and this is their full-time job. For agents that are not their full-time job, that's okay. But during an economic slowdown, it is important to know, like, hey, you've got to now at this point polish some of the things that have been overlooked for a long time. Get your marketing underway, make sure your branding is good, work on your CRMs, work on some process flow, some operation stuff. Now is the time for real estate agents who really belong in the business will probably stay in the business.
Yeah.
And those who are not are going to really find the door quick.
Do you think that a slowdown, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about a slowdown, slight dips. We're not talking about the wheels have fallen off. Do you think that is enough to get your weekend real estate agents to go do something else?
It will, because back when the market went nuts in 2004 to 2006, there was an influx of 500,000 real estate licenses.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody was getting into real estate because it was so easy. I mean, you literally just had to know someone. There was almost zero requirement to buy a house. I mean, no credit, no income, no job history. And in fact, on 2020, you didn't even have to be alive. There was a 2020 special on a cemetery of people owning houses because there's nothing on the application that said you had to be alive. So apparently that's how easy it was to get houses. So we saw this huge influx of people. And that's why I think overall, yes, you will get that kind of evacuation of people who are just no longer being able to make the quick buck. You really have to grind and be in it to win it for you to be able to withstand a recession time. And recession times are really, you have to be very careful because now you have to operate a little bit differently. And that's really more on like your life side. It's like, how do I make sure I'm not spending more money than I'm making and just kind of predicting that, hey, this might be a tough year, 2 or 3 that we go through this, and just hopefully you'll be there on the other side. But it's important to kind of just bank on hopefully some savings, bank on some understanding that the market is shifting, and you've just got to shift with it. And hopefully you'll be there in the end. But the best ones will prevail. The good agents have been doing this for 15, 20, 30 years. They were there in the good times, and they'll be there in the bad times.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just it's the part-timers that are just going to find the door probably. So yeah, we'll see the industry as far as the professionals change for sure with the slowdown.
And I think it's interesting to think about how many people we would talk to on a daily basis to where if you told them in a year they're only going to make 1% as a buyer's agent or a seller's agent versus 2.5 to 3%.
Very good point.
How many of those people would tell you to F off and they're going to go do something else instead?
Yeah, they would. And it's so funny because when you ask a real estate agent in an interview process where I've interviewed probably hundreds of agents throughout my career, I'll say, what do you like about real estate? And they'll always say, I love people. I love talking to people. I love people. Okay. Do you love people at 1%? Probably not. They don't. They fail to mention, I love the paychecks. The paychecks are big.
Money.
They're big. They're awesome. One-day paydays. Those are ones I could sign up for all day. That's the reality. So anytime somebody says that, I go, oh, so do you like plotting routes for your showings and your tourings and calling sellers and setting up things and making sure the escrows are doing their job and the lender and the appraisal has been ordered? No, they never say that they like those things, but guess what? That's actually the job.
Yeah.
The job is not talking to just people. Lots of jobs talk to people.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I've worked in so many jobs, and every single one of those jobs, the thing that they had in common was customers.
Yep. They have customers.
Every job
will have customers.
Almost
that you
every
have to talk
job
to.
has customers, and then you're talking to people.
So in real estate, it really comes down to, I love the paychecks, and I wish they would just be more honest about it, and that's okay. Like, I love the paychecks, so I will do what it takes to get those paychecks.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of why real estate is the way it is, where it's completely saturated with too many people in the business, hunting and fighting and crawling for everybody, which is why I always repeat, it's who you know in real estate, not what you know. Because the guys who shouldn't be hired are always getting hired because they're related or they're an arm's length of the transaction and they know the person, they have a personal relationship with them. They're not like, I don't call my friend when I need to have an AC installed, right? You just don't. You don't like,
totally.
Hey, have you ever done this before? Like, do you know what you're doing? I've done 1 or 2. Well, guess what? Probably that's not going to be worthy of me spending 10 grand on something that you may have done once or twice.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if you've done a good job on it. But in real estate, it is 100% accurate. They don't know anything that they're doing. They've only done it a handful of times. And you're just like, hey, they have a relationship there. And that to me is the biggest cry for both the consumer side and also for the agents who want to do this for the right reasons. And that's one of the things we advocate at Torvia is that we want to protect. We want to have the agents who want to do the business side of this because they like all of real estate, not just the paychecks.
Yeah.
And hopefully that's something that will prevail.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we want to make money as well.
Yes,
100%.
money will follow. I have no doubt that you will be able to make money because truly, I met a client who is insanely rich and he has a taco cart. And I met him and he was buying a house for his relative and he has a taco cart. Nothing wrong with his taco cart, but he has 50 employees. And he's a millionaire, and he's buying multiple commercial properties. He's buying but he does something he enjoys. He's good at it. And you don't get this massive paycheck, but like I said, the money will follow if you truly love what you do.
Yeah.
And he does. And that is evidence right there. He does over 1,700 events a year. That's 4 a day.
Yeah.
It's more than 4 a day technically. So
It's nuts.
it's like, yeah, you can be really ultra successful at anything, and you don't have to worry about the big paydays. And that's one of the things in real estate that's really been irking me and getting under my skin more and more as I'm running into these agents who are just so obviously into it, beating their chests, in it for the wrong reasons, and that's not okay. It's not okay, one, for dealing with them when I'm doing my job, and it's not okay for the consumers who are unbeknownst to them knowing exactly what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's something that is kind of gross and needs to stop.
Well, and I think it's important to call out that those people, the terrible, just in it for the money, don't actually know all of the ins and outs of what they're doing. They do 2 to 3 deals a year, maybe. Those people, if they think that they're just a couple of years away from making millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah, everybody's gonna
without
get rich.
really understanding that those agents that are out there making the millions and millions of dollars actually love all of those pieces that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
They love the nitty-gritty property inspections, making sure all the escrow
have to.
paperwork is all in order. They love that,
You know-
and they just so happen to now have a huge following of clients, or maybe it's a big
That's
social
well
media,
said.
or whatever it is.
I remember, it's funny when you asked me about this, and I remember early in my career, I came across this too. A big-time agent, you finally get them on the phone and you talk to them, they're everywhere. They could not be nicer.
Yeah,
It's like,
absolutely.
it's the opposite. And then you talk to these other agents who barely do a deal, and they are terrible human beings. Like,
Yeah.
they're just a grind to even have a simple conversation with them. And it's the ones that are doing it all, and it's like, oh my God, I can be a pleasant human being doing this. This is great. And that's something that I took early on in my career, and it's pleasant to me today. It's like, doesn't matter how many deals I do. I'm the same guy. I dress the same. If you run into me in the movie theaters, and almost when I show a house, it might be a little different. I might wear a button shirt, but you're not running into a different human being, and that's really important, to stay true to to yourself, and to sell through and through what you are and what you do.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I wanted to end my segment with something funny, not funny, but just so there's a new record. Did you know the new mecca of the universe? So we would say Los Angeles, you could say New York, you could say Beijing, but it's not. Do you know where the new financial mecca is, Matt?
Seattle?
No, it
Okay.
is Singapore. Do you know what country Singapore is in? I had to look it up, so don't.
Oh, man.
Don't be
Okay.
ashamed.
Yeah, it is. Singapore is in the Philippines.
No, Singapore is in Malaysia.
Okay, all right.
So Singapore is the new mecca of the world, in which they just had their newest, and this is a thriving economy. Like, Malaysia is just blowing up,
Yeah.
and is becoming a world powerhouse, and its GDP is growing like crazy. But they just had a new record sale for the most expensive home sold in Singapore, and it was the top floor of a penthouse. And somebody very famous that you might know, who sells a lot of vacuum cleaners, bought it.
I should have known this.
You know who it is?
It is Sir James Dyson.
That's correct.
That
Sir
is a
James-
sir to you,
Sir
you people.
James Dyson just bought the most expensive home, record-breaking home in Malaysia for
in Malaysia.
$54
And
million.
You know what? I have a lot of important things that I want to talk about, but unfortunately,
We're out of
I
time.
have to get out of here.
You do.
Because I've got some homes to go sell. So we're going to pause this right here, and we're going to pick up on Sir James Dyson here in a moment, because this is a really good topic, and I feel really bad that I didn't recognize that Singapore was in Malaysia.
It's all good.
Because I know a lot of things
all
about
good.
stuff.
All
So
right.
we'll talk to you guys about it in half a second.
Hey everybody, it's Matt here. I just wanted to let you all know that we will not be continuing this pod to talk about James Dyson, but we are going to be coming back to you next week, and we will have a full James Dyson and Malaysia real estate conversation when we start up next week. Talk to you guys then.